اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الحمد للہ رب العالمین والصلاة والسلام علی سید الانبیاء والمرسلین سیدنا و نبینا و طبیب نفوسنا و حبیب قلوبنا و شفیع ذنوبنا مولانا ابو القاسم محمد
اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد
الطیبین الطاہرین المعصومین المظلومین ولعنۃ اللہ علی اعدائهم اجمعین من یومنا ھذا الی یوم الدین. اما بعد فقد قال اللہ سبحانہ وتعالی فی القرآن المجید والفرقان الحمید وقوله الحق بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم قد افلح المؤمنون. صلوات.
اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
So, the ayah Karima that I have recited today as the subject heading of today's talk is the first ayah of chapter number 23 of Quran Pak, Surah Al-Mu'minun. And Allah Ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. The Mu'mineen, they are successful.
MashaAllah.
So dear Mu'min and Mu'minat, our quest for the better understanding of our religion continues. It's something that starts from when we get birth until our death. And so far, in the last 8 nights, what we have covered or tried to cover is what are the blessings of Muharram? What does the word Shia mean? How come Shias are the true and original Islam? What is the origin of Shia Islam, which is basically what is the origin of Islam itself? We talked briefly about the first leader of Shias, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib. And we talked about some of the companions of Rasulullah and Imam, and showed our love and respect to them. Then we talked about some of the great scholars that we had in the past and in current world, in the recent world, their work. And then we talked about the roles and responsibilities of Shia. And last night we discussed some of the merits and fadail of Shia. And today is going to be our last talk in this lecture series. Tomorrow night would be the Shab-e Ashur, and I don't think we should be doing English lectures tomorrow night. It's the night of Masaib. And so I'm really grateful to all of you for your patient listening and helping me in my own understanding of our religion.
Thank you. MashaAllah. Barakallah.
I had thought, and I did actually say in the first night when I gave you the outline of the next 9 nights, I had thought the best way of finishing the lecture series would be starting our first Imam, finishing with the last.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
However, unfortunately, I'm not going to do that tonight because I had realized that 10-15 minutes it's impossible to even start talking about 12th Imam. And whereas you can leave the other topics slightly incomplete and stop in the middle sometimes, when you start talking about 12th Imam, you can't just do that. So I don't think it will be right to even start talking about him. We will talk about him just for the sake of Sawab, but I'm not going to talk more about the concepts and other things of 12th Imam. What we will talk about though is, I thought, about beliefs of Shia. And in that as well, we'll have to confine to one single belief, and I thought that we'll do 2, Tawheed and Imamat. But for 2 reasons, I think we'll probably leave Tawheed today. One is that, again, shortage of time, covering 2 topics is not going to be possible. But the other is that our Maulana Maqbool Alvi Sahib has, mashallah, been talking about Tawheed in some detail in the recent past, over the last few nights. And has been taking the help of great Nahj al-Balagha which was what I thought I would do, and he's done it, mashallah, much more eloquently and nicely. So I'll leave that talk. I might just mention one or two sentences of Imam Ali on this if we got the time later on, but let's see how it turns out. So the basic beliefs of Shia Islam or Shia Muslim in 2 words is Usul-e-Din. All children, those who come to our Sunday school Nisab, as well as those who don't, they all know it very well, mashallah. Usul-e-Din basically means the principles of religion. And we know very well, don't we, that they are the roots of our religion. It is the plinth on which the building of the religion stands. Without it, there will be no religion. And if you believe in Usul-e-Din, then you are a Shia. If you don't believe on any one of them, then you're not a Shia. And just for the sake of, you know it all very well, including the children, but just for the sake of Sawab, I'll mention what they are. But basically, these are the first part of what we have been discussing so far. Aminu wa amilu salihat. These are the Aminu bit.
MashaAllah.
Okay. And the next bit, which is amilu salihat, the righteous deeds, is covered in Furu-e-Din. Furu-e-Din are the branches of religion. These are the actions, these are the things, that's how we should behave as a Shia Muslim. So the Usul-e-Din are Tawheed, Adl, Nabuwat, Shabash. And Furu-e-Din, so we'll mention very briefly that, but Furu-e-Din, just for the sake of Sawab, let's complete that as well. It's Namaz or Salat, Roza or Saum, Hajj, Zakat, Homs, Jihad, Amr bil Maruf, Nahi anil Munkar, Tawalla Tabarra. You all know this, you all know the meaning of this, and I don't want to dwell in too much of this. So these are our Usul-e-Din and Furu-e-Din. And just one more thing about this is that as Shia Muslims, we are supposed and we are required to believe in these by logic, by our understanding. As you know, and we have discussed it in the recent past, Taqleed is a cornerstone of our religion. Following the most learned person is what we call Taqleed. However, in Usul-e-Din, there is no Taqleed. Taqleed is actually haram. You need to know this and be satisfied by your own self that this is the right thing to believe in. So I think that's enough for the sawab of Usul-e-Din, and let's move on to the concept of Imamat. In chapter number 4, which is Surah An-Nisa, ayat number 59, Allah Ta'ala says in the famous ayat, Ya ayyuhallazina aminu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. So it means that, oh you who believe, the Mu'mins, obey Allah, obey His Prophet, and obey Ulul Amr. Now you can translate Ulul Amr as the person in authority, but just what does actually that term mean, Ulul Amr? Does it mean anybody in authority, no matter how he got or she got into authority, by hook, by crook or whatever? Surely not. Unfortunately, like we said, right, we have been saying it right from the beginning that we are talking about Shia Islam concept. We're not talking about others. You need to know though that some, if not all, Sunni scholars believe that man in authority is Ulul Amr. But we don't. We believe that Ulul Amr is the other name of Imamat. And we believe this is the true and original Islam which teaches us that. And in ayat number 124 of the second chapter Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Ta'ala says, Qala inni ja'iluka lin-nasi imama. Qala wa min zurriyati. Qala la yunalu ahdi zalimin. So Allah Ta'ala said to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, I will make you an imam. And Ibrahim said, what about my offspring? Will they be imam as well? And Allah said, yes, but my covenant or position they cannot go to the wrong people, to the oppressors. So the message is that even person who's a prophet, and not just a prophet, an Ulul Azm prophet, one of the best prophets, sometimes called Imam al-Anbiya, Khalilullah, even he cannot appoint or say that who can be his successor or the Imam. So Rasulullah says, who can be Imam then? So Rasulullah says in the Allah Ta'ala says in the 5th Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayat number 55, Innama waliyakumullahu wa rasuluhu wallazina amanu allazina yuqimuna salata wa yutuna zakata wa hum raki'un. Surely the guardian of moments is Allah, is Rasul, and the moment, and not any moment. That moment who does namaz or salat and gives charity while he is going in ruku. We all know that there is only one person in history, and that's Sunni and Shia sources all united in this, that Imamul Muttaqiyan Hazrat Ali ibn Talib was the only one who ever. We have discussed this not long time ago, so I'm not going to go into the details. Rasulullah, and again another hadith of Rasulullah, which is unanimously accepted by all Shia and Sunni sources, it goes on to say, Islam shall never pass away nor be deviated while there are my 12 caliphs or khalifa or successors from my nation in it. All of them will be from Quraysh. When the last of them passes away, the final hour will be established and the earth will be destroyed with all its inhabitants. So we have 12 caliphs, and we know that 11 of those caliphs have come and have left this world. And Allah Ta'ala's 12th deputy is in hiding at the moment, and we are eagerly waiting for his reappearance. Ajalallahu Ta'ala farajak wa sallallahu makharajak wa zahurak wa ja'alna min awanik wa ansarik, as we say every time.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And our Imam of our times, he says in Ziyarat al-Nahiya for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he says, "O my oppressed father, I came in this world after you, and by the decree of Allah, I could not help you. Therefore I will lament morning and evening, and instead of tears, I will shed blood." In one tradition which tells us about the Zuhur of Imam, it says that Imam will reappear, he will introduce himself while sitting between Hajar Aswad and Maqam Ibrahim. Those who know the geography of Khana Kaaba, they will try and recall that place. There is Hajar Aswad in one of the corners of Khana Kaaba, there are 4 corners, one of them, and slightly away is Maqam Ibrahim, where Hazrat Ibrahim al-Islam stood and directed Hazrat Ismail, his son, how to build Kaaba. Between these two, our Imam will sit, inshallah, and will introduce himself to the world. How will he introduce himself? He will say, "O people of the world, be warned, I am the Qayyam. O people of the world, know that I am the sword in which revenge will be taken. O people of the world, know that my Hussain was murdered thirsty. O people of the world, know that my Hussain was left uncovered without a shroud on the dirty plains. O people of the world, my grandfather Hussein's body was trampled by horses after he was massacred. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا إِيَّا مُنْقَلَبًا يَنْقَلِبُونَ. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and many thanks again for your patient listening.